You're listening to a fine vintage episode of One More Sip of the Garden Mixer, our after-hours show that drops every other week between bigger sips. Interested in newer releases? You can find out how to become a paid subscriber on Substack and get exclusive access for a whole year when you support the show. Gardening shouldn't be boring. More at thegardenmixerpodcast.substack.com. Now back to Vintage One More Sip. Do we stake? Do we not stake? How do we stake? It's One More Sip of the Garden Mixer.
I'm Leslie Harris. She's Marianne Willburn, and we stake some things in our garden, but we don't stake all of them. And there are reasons when or why you should, and there are ways to do it that are better or worse. We are here to discuss. So let's get started.
So how much do you stake? And I want you to be really honest. I mean, really painfully honest right now.
Painfully honest, right? I don't like the look of a floppy plant, so I'll stake enough to make
Nothing like a flaccid plant. I like flaccid plant, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going there with you. No,
That might get people to stake. If you,
especially men. Like, oh God, we can't have that. I'm going floppy because I'm G-rated, but I just don't like the look of a flopper. And I've got this beautiful Orlea that's like a, kind of a Queen Anne's lace sort of thing, but better. Marianne gave me the seeds. It's grown fantastically. I came home after a month away in the garden and it was flopping, but I didn't have to stake it. And here's how. Sometimes you can just take the heavier bottom blooms and sacrifice them and just say, if I prune this way, it's going to go springing back up to its verticality that I love. So I will stake anything that I have to as a professional gardener. I know I start a lot of boring sentences like that. That was part of the deal. I mean, we were all about the tidy and we needed to make things look quite good. And we had to make it look like we hadn't done what we did, making it invisible looking. I think can be an art form, right?
Yeah, it is an art form, good staking. And I think when you start your garden adventure, we're all very drawn, I would put money on it, to the tall, statuesque flowers, the big vertical, the digitalis, the delphinium, the ones that make you go, the ones that all have to be staked,
Oh, God,
most of them to get them. And if you grow too many plants that you absolutely have to stake, you're going to be sad. And so it's nice to have a smattering of others, or maybe I don't, as a rule, care for dwarf cultivars of many things. But smattering in some dwarf, some smaller cultivars is not a terrible thing to help on your, on your staking journey. And also using some good old fashioned Chelsea chopping.
Yeah.
To bring that overall height down. I am seeing it this year when I finally got around to chopping Gianna, the Phlox paniculata that we were talking about an episode ago or so.
Mhm.
And it is just perfect. It's just about to bloom. I cannot foresee it needing a stake at this point. It's strong. It's ready to go. Last year, absolutely, it needed staking because I just hadn't done that to it. So you can play with that a little bit, but don't make it difficult on yourself to have to stake everything because it is time consuming. We're going to talk about a few ways to do it, but it can be time consuming.
It's time consuming, and it's one of those things where you have all your gear and you're out there and you're doing, and you've got, we talked in the tools episode, you've got your belt strapped on, you've got, the things that you love to have with you. And then all of a sudden you see a plant that needs stakes and string, which are not on your belt. And if you're
They're on
trembling,
mine.
okay, you nerd.
I know, I am a total nerd. When I have my other belt on, my little woman's work belt, I have a little clay piece of, it's actually, I think it's a plum level, but it's very rough. So it holds string and I wrap string around it and then I can hold it in my hand and pull the string, like it can, it can stay wound without having a huge thing of string sitting in my belt. So I do keep some string in my belt. Yes, that does happen.
Let me just ask you this. Are you good at wrapping Christmas presents and making beds?
Yeah, I
Okay, see,
guess.
these are I have other talents and not those and not staking. So I had to do it. I learned how to do it from the woman that I worked with when I was a Spanish teacher, and she taught me what to do and how to knot it. And
Mhm,
when you've got to make it so that your stake is really attached to one piece of the plant that is hidden like behind so that you
mhm,
can't see it. And then you loop around it and you loop around part of the plant too. And then when you tie your knot, you make it so that it's the very back and nobody can see that knot, and then, of course, you go and clip the little strings from your knot, and this is how I had to teach all the gardeners that work for me, and they all looked at me like I was nuts because
mhm.
it's fine, and come on, really? Nobody's gonna see this little string. I'm like, "Yeah, no, we're clipping the little string." It's not my favorite part of gardening, I've got to tell you.
Yeah, it's not my favorite part. I don't enjoy it, but I do find that you have to go down there and say, "Today I'm doing staking
Yes.
for 30 minutes." That's the best way to do it because if it's, "I gotta do this and this and this, and oh, I gotta stake that," you're not gonna get to it.
No.
And then you're gonna have a windstorm, it's gonna fall down, you're gonna be annoyed because I do not think that you can make a plant look as good as it was supposed to if you let it flop and then try and bring it back up. Certainly true with grasses. You're not going to be able to recreate that majesty. You're going to have it, it's not going to be good. If you just took care of it early on, then the plant was moving against its staking, against that string and getting stronger because it's moving and it is strengthening the plant. But when it flops over, you bring it up, then it's like it's got a crutch. So it really is the best thing to do first, out of the gate. And one of the coolest ways of doing it, if you can remember, is in the winter to cut some or go to, if you're in a smaller property, to see if you can find a friend with some brush on, brushwood type things and cut some brushwood that you can then leave in place. It doesn't have any leaves on it. And in the early spring, when the ground thaws, where the crowns are for the plants, which you have marked with a little piece of bamboo, you can create a little cage around them. And it's like pea-sticking is the sort of technical term for it, but you're making these little cages for it. And you're just weaving them in. You're sticking the branch down in a circle around the plant, and then you're bending those branches over and you're sort of weaving them together and you're breaking them a little on the top. And it can be very beautiful. That's
Oh,
the cool
it
thing
can
about
be
it.
an art form, and some of the best
Yeah.
ones that we've ever seen, we saw them together at Waterbury when we went
Mhm.
to England last year. What was the name of the gardener there? It's a friend of yours.
Pat Havers is the head gardener there.
And
Yeah.
I don't know whether she was making them or some of her staff, but they were the thing of beauty as things were arising. I remember looking at particular geranium where you could
Oh.
definitely see what was holding it up. So if that's stakes and string, that's probably not gonna be a thing of beauty, but if it's something that somebody created with bent pea sticks, it's sculptural, really pretty.
Yeah, and with something like a geranium, which has such potential to be amazing coming out of that staking, but is so delicate that it couldn't pull that off without some sort of framework.
Right.
Or some other plants that it can sort of not grow up and twine around because that's not what it does, but it can at least lean against and get a little bit taller. Yeah, those little cages, gorgeous. But again, not something you can do in June and July. That
No,
window has
spring.
passed. You're done. Now you've got to deal with some sticks, some string. Even a hoop is going to be real tough at this point for,
Right.
your peonies or, the plants that you grow that flop. I do tend to choose cultivars of traditional garden favorites based on floppability or not. So for instance, I don't grow any double peonies. I don't grow
No.
any double peonies. Now, I say that a friend has just given me some of hers, and I've got them in a pot, and I'll put them somewhere because they smell so good. But I have so many different singles that I love because I don't have to stake them. They don't flop.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
do the same with dahlias. One of my very, very favorite dahlias is Mystic Illusion, which is a dark bronze dahlia with these beautiful, bright, single yellow flowers, and it holds itself up perfectly. Don't have to stake it.
And many dahlias do not. That's their and
Oh,
they
yeah,
grow
I
so
know.
fast at this time of year, you
Yep.
feel like that should be on your weekly. When I had my big garden, it's like, "Okay, I'm running through the garden, I'm doing all the things, now it's staking time," and that is a really good way to get yourself psyched for it, like, "Now I get to stake," it's time to stake, and it's really gonna be
Yeah.
nice for going forward. A way to do it with some single stemmed ones, can be very easy, if you collect those metal sticks that are about 3 feet tall that just have a small
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of golf ball sized ring at the top of them, and so
Yeah.
you can train a lily or a zinnia or maybe a castor bean to just say, "Okay, you're gonna be here, and then the rest of you may or may not flop," or I might be able to prune you so that you won't be too top heavy. I mean, pruning can be part of it, it doesn't always have to be support. Peony rings, do you use them?
I used to when I was first gardening, and I still have them. They hang up in the barn now. I never use them now because again, same thing, I grow singles, but when I was first growing peonies, those were the only things that were in my last garden from the people who lived there before for 80 years, and they were all doubles, and they were all with their heads in the mud when they bloomed. So it was either just cut them all and bring them in the house, which is nice,
Yeah.
or stake them, and I'd use the peony hoops, but it was never easy. It was sort of like tomato cages because 'cause you're trying to put 3 legs down and one's hitting a stone and the other one's going into soft earth, and it's not fun.
No.
So with something like that, I would prefer to just take 4 bamboo canes and make a network, a cobweb network. Once it gets to be about, I'd say about 18 inches, maybe a little bit less, maybe a foot, so that it's very quickly going to go over the top of that ugly structure.
And all you'll see is this beautiful sort of it's almost
Yeah,
like the flowers are spilling out of a vase. I think
yeah,
you have a really good point about some plants, peonies, which are so short-lived, to just say, "You know what? You're gonna grow up, you're gonna flop, and I will just cut you before you do and bring you inside. So you won't be covered with mud, I will anticipate it if you can, because I
yeah,
love a good double peony, oh my gosh." So
yeah.
visibility, timing well, other structures, so we've talked about hoops. You said something when we were talking before we started recording about chairs as
Oh, yes. So I once, you well, not once, I did it quite a bit. I'm such a junk store thrifter type person, and I'd get these old metal chairs that had their seats were gone, long gone, and I would paint them red or some sort of fun color and then put them over the top of a grass that would have a problem with flopping or a peony. And so, those were in my cutesy days, my sort of, "Well, that's cute, that works." And I've sort of moved away from doing that now, but if I saw it in somebody else's garden with a lot of other garden art and stuff, I would be like, "Oh, that's cute. You go, girl. You go,
yeah,
guy,"
whatever makes you smile.
Yeah, whatever makes you smile and what's easy, and you're bringing some fun and repurposing stuff, so that's one way to do it. You can go to the complete opposite end, which is you can buy those ironwork peony, they're not just for peonies, they're for all types of floppers that are made custom made, a couple $100 a piece, I bet, easily.
Oh, yeah,
And you're going to have them for the rest of your life. There's that, if you've
and they're
got them,
beautiful in their own right,
and
so
they're
you're not just suffering
beautiful.
through this kind of, "Oh, there's my peony ring. I can't wait till my peony gets bigger." They are sculptural and artistic, fabulously
Yeah.
expensive, and, that but a good solution if that's what makes you happy, but let me just get back to what we promised that Marianne's much better at this than I am. When the first time we actually spent time together, as
Mm.
opposed to just talking on
Yes, it's
Zoom.
burned into my memory.
We went to Great Dixter for this 5-day symposium, 6-day, I don't know, and Fergus Garrett
7-day, Leslie.
7-day, fabulous breakfast, poached eggs, I remember it well. Fergus Garrett had us doing, all kinds of skills, and I thought with the staking thing, I'm like, "Well, this is what I do, so I'm gonna be really good at this." And what's that half clove hitch or something knot
Yeah, half
that
clove.
we
I think it's a half clove hitch. It's like the only knot I know. It
okay,
literally is the only, well, no, I know a square knot.
okay,
I've always been rubbish at knots,
yeah.
but I do know that one.
So he had us doing that, and you had to make it so that you really couldn't see it. And I was in a mood where I was not going particularly carefully, and he came by and he basically said, "Oh, I see you've done this now. This is how not to do. Everyone, look here."
Did he really? I don't remember him doing that.
No, he probably didn't. He's too nice a man, but
Oh,
that's how I
okay.
felt because I could tell that he did not approve, and you were a teacher's pet that day. Good on you.
"Excuse me, Mr. Garrett. Mr. Garrett, would you like to see mine, Mr. Garrett?"
Yes, that's very good, Marianne, very good. All right, so we've covered it. I think the
But we didn't
time
talk about what we were actually doing. You
baking.
you went right past what we were doing. We were staking, but what was the way that we were doing? We're doing that pea staking, but the other type of staking that we were learning there was using that knot to 'cause the idea is you've got a perennial or say you've got about 3 or 4 perennials. You wanna use as few stakes as possible to and as invisibly as possible to stake the entire thing, and that's not by putting a stake behind the perennial clump and then just wrapping the string
Like
all
a
the way
rodeo.
around like a rodeo. You're
No,
not going a rodeo. You ain't no cowboy. You are attaching it to that bamboo, and then you're going to your outside stems, and you're doing a little loop on it. So you're going over the stem and under it, like you're catching it like a knitting needle. You're grabbing it and going under it so that it has some movement and it can move. And then you're going to the next one or then the every other one, and you're grabbing that one. And then you're maybe going back through the clump to your stake and then coming back out and you're doing the same. So in the end, you've got this perennial clump that is tethered where it is, but it's still got movement.
at the top.
And it doesn't have this rodeo loop around it. And
Lasso,
you're going
that's what
back
I'm looking
in.
for.
A lasso. Yes, that's right.
No
So
lasso.
that's the essence of staking at Dixter. They do the pea stick, all the pea stick cages and all that sort of thing, but the sort of everyday staking, that's what they're doing. And I do a lot of that here. I do a lot of that here. Not as much this season though. I have been really, really bad about getting to my staking this year and just sort of watching things and going, "Oh, maybe the windstorm won't be so bad." Um,
Good luck to you,
yeah.
plant. We'll see how
Yeah,
this works out.
yeah. But again, don't make it hard on yourself. Try and not grow too many things that absolutely require that you stake.
Yep.
Grow a certain amount of ones that might be good some years and not be good some others, and then grow some dwarf cultivars in there as well. And then your garden will be okay. And also, a lot of these plants, if they do flop, sometimes they will send some vertical, like a zinnia. It can flop in a weird way and then it'll turn those sort of the stems, the new stems that it's creating from those leaf axils up towards the sun, and you've got like a whole plant because it went vertical. You've got a whole like 5 new plants going up. So, you know, do it, don't do it, and just don't make yourself a slave to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Enjoy it if you can.
That's right.
If you're listening to this, you're supporting us on Substack, and we really
We thank you.
appreciate you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. All
we
right, we'll see you
do.
next time on One More Sip of the Garden Mixer.